In the spring, insects emerge from places such as woods and fields and waters. Most insects, like the dragonfly, spend their summers in search of food. Like the praying mantis, they feed, grow, and reproduce their species. The mantis is a carnivore, feeding on other insects such as the dragonfly. The mantis preys on the dragonfly, even though they are both predators. Both of these insects are adapted to feeding on other animals. But how do these species live through the winter when they do not feed? Each one has adaptations which allow it to survive the cold months. Let's examine some of the ways in which the mantis and other species of insects spend the winter. This female mantid is head down on a twig. Adult mantids usually die soon after the cold sets in, but before that they reproduce. After mating, the female mantis builds an egg case. This case is made of a sticky substance secreted from the mantid's body and attached to a tree or limb. The egg case is built up slowly from this substance. Then about 200 eggs will be laid within it. The eggs, protected in this case, allow the species to survive. This is a completed egg case. The eggs are safe within. But mantids are not the only species which survive in this way. Many other kinds of insects build egg cases which can be seen hanging from limbs during the winter. Some insects lay their eggs in unprotected places. These aphids have laid their eggs on the bark of a tree. Yet these eggs are adapted to survive, exposed to the elements. The caterpillar of the swallowtail butterfly has another way of living through the winter. It will form a chrysalis, which will hang from a branch all through the cold months. First, it must attach itself to a tree. It wraps a silken covering around the twig to which it will hold. Butterflies like this one use their silk only to hold themselves onto the limb. But moth caterpillars enclose themselves in cocoons of silk, which protect them through the winter. When the caterpillar has covered the twig with silk, it attaches its false feet to the strands. Now the caterpillar begins to secure the top of its body. With one fine thread after another, it builds up a thick strand of silk fashioned in a loop around its body. The fibers are laid together until the loop is sturdy and secure. This will be its main attachment through the winter. Then the caterpillar crawls inside the loop and bends backward. The loop works something like a safety belt. Now the chrysalis, or pupa, is ready to form. The skin begins to break open near the head, just as it did during molting. But now, instead of being sloughed off, the skin hardens. The chrysalis, attached at the bottom and held by its loop at the top, is now almost formed. This is the way it will spend the winter. Other insects, like these flies, pass the winter as adults in a kind of hibernation. Many others winter around the trees on which they live during the summer. When the trees shed their leaves in the autumn, some larvae simply crawl down out of the branches and into the fallen leaves to spend the winter. Here they burrow in the soft cover and lie dormant as pupae until spring. A few grasshoppers also go through the winter hidden in the fallen leaves and grass. But most adult grasshoppers die, leaving eggs that will hatch. So each species is adapted to pass the winter. Adults are under cover beneath the snow. Eggs and pupae are hanging in protected cases. Many of these egg cases and cocoons can be seen during the winter after the leaves have fallen from the trees. These cases are almost as various as the insects that make them. Eggs, too, can often be seen during the winter, just where they were laid. Within them, life is being preserved. Although no insects can be seen, each species is alive. Beneath loose bark, many different insects may be found. This is an ideal place for some species like ladybird beetles. If they are disturbed, they may move enough to show that they are still alive. They may begin to search for other shelter. But other insects are completely inactive. In one way or another, each species survives the winter. Occasionally, insects are even seen on the snow. But this is rare, for few of them are active. In mild climates, some adult butterflies, like the Vanessa, may live all through the winter. In places where the winters are cold, there's almost no insect activity. But eventually, the ice begins to melt, and the streams begin to run again. The spring returns, and green plants begin to grow. Eggs that were laid on the tree bark begin to hatch. One by one, the young break through the egg cases and begin the larval stage of their lives. Remember the chrysalis formed last fall? It now cracks, and a swallowtail butterfly emerges. It stretches its legs for the first time as it climbs. It hangs upside down from a twig until its wings have spread and dried. The wing veins slowly fill with fluid from the butterfly's body and grow stiff. The butterfly climbs higher. It flutters, half climbing and half flying up the branches. And then it flies. The egg case, which the praying mantis left last fall, is now punctured, and the newly hatched young begin to crawl out. More than 100 emerge from this single case. They lower themselves from the case on threads of silk which they spin. Soon, many of them are scrambling and moving away, clambering over one another as they go. Each newborn mantis looks almost like its parents. They will change little, except in size during the summer. The life of the species has been preserved within the egg case. These mantids, like all of the other species, have survived the winter. Now they will begin another part of their year. They will grow, mate, and reproduce. Now all of the insects begin a new cycle of seasons, another year.